Hey guys, today we're doing 9.7 surface area of spheres. I know it says cones, but I forgot to change it from the last one. It should say spheres. Okay, you don't know this, but I keep messing up, and this is actually the third time that I'm recording this video. So hopefully we will get it right this time. I don't know, I just keep like messing up somewhere and then I have to start over because it's like too messed up that I don't want to leave it in there for you or whatever. Make sure you take notes so that you have it to look at for your assignment tomorrow if I go too fast, pause, rewind, or whatever you need. Let's get started. And that didn't erase. There it is. So here's our formula. Our formula is S equals 4 pi r squared. This is probably the easiest shape because it only has one variable, and that's the r. The r stands for radius. So when you have the radius of the sphere, all you have to do is plug it in and get the answer. So let's go ahead and do example number 1. Here's example number 1. Find the surface area of the sphere. So first thing I'm going to do is write my formula down. The previous slide just said S, but I like to write SA for surface area. Whatever you want to write is fine. 4 pi r squared. The radius, as you can tell, is 7. So we're going to plug in a 7. We're going to evaluate that in our calculator, and you are going to get 615.75. Make sure you round correctly, guys. That's the biggest mistake I see, and why you're like missing some on your forms is because you don't round. Like some of y'all put the answer in like this. Like we're rounding to the nearest tenth every time. We look at this number and we look at the one next to it. If the one next to it is 5 or above, we round it up. If it's under 5, it stays. This one is 5 and above, so this one will round up to 615.8, and it's inches squared because it's surface area. But remember, when you're doing your form, don't put in the unit of measure, just put 615.8. And that's it. That's all for spheres. So let's move on to the next example. Here's the next example. Oh, it's not. That's the same example. Here's the next example. Find the surface area. So let's start by writing our formula again. 4 pi r squared. Okay. This time we're not given the radius. If you notice, we're given the diameter. So please don't plug the diameter in there. Don't plug the 24 in. We want the radius. So we're going to do 24 divided by 2 first to get the radius, which is 12. So that's what we want to plug in. We want to plug in the radius. So watch out for that because I will try to trick you. We plug it in and we get 1,809.55. We want to round again, so we look at the number after the 5, and it's also a 5. So it will round up 0.6 millimeters squared. This is our answer. That's it. Okay, we have one more where we're going to talk about a hemisphere, which is half of a sphere. So let's get that one done. Here it is. So a hemisphere is just half of a sphere. Let's see if I can write hemisphere up here. And it's legible. Okay. Hemisphere. The formula for a hemisphere is a little bit different. It's not 4 pi r squared. It is 3 pi r squared. Okay? It's surface area. So at first I was confused because I was like, well, since it's half a sphere, shouldn't it be 2 pi r squared? Because 2 pi r squared is half of 4 pi r squared. But then I realized, oh, its surface area is like the outside. So like we also have to take into account this face, that face that I just shaded in, which is why it's 3 pi r squared instead of 2 pi r squared. So if you did not understand that explanation at all, then don't worry about it. And I accidentally erased this. So let me go ahead and write it again. I was just trying to erase the shading. And the formula is 3 pi r squared. So if you see a hemisphere on the assignment, and you will, make sure you use this formula and not the 4 pi r squared. By the way, the code word for today's video is blue. The color blue, B-L-U-E. Let's get started. Okay, make sure you have the radius and not the diameter. In this case, we do have the radius. It is 5, so 3 pi 5 squared. And I actually have to put this into my calculator because I forgot to type it in before I started recording the video. So let me type it in real quick. 3 times pi times 5 squared. And I get 235.61. Okay, then we want to round. So remember, we look at this number, we look at the one next to it. It stays a 6 because that's under 5. So my answer is 235.6 kilometers squared. But remember, you don't need that. All right, that brings us to the end. Make sure you're using the correct formula when you do your form tomorrow. If it's a whole sphere, it's 4 pi r squared. If it's a hemisphere, it's 3 pi r squared. Thanks, guys.